What is up, guys? I'm Diego. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm an Imperial College graduate who's looking to get into medicine, and on this channel I basically highlight and document this whole journey, and along the way sort of talk about other topics as well, stuff that I picked up on the way at university. But today, basically this video is about a quick update pretty much of what's been going on for these last 12 months of my medical school application process. You know, the whole planning aspect of it, the whole studying aspect of it, sitting the medical exams, medical admissions exams, and pretty much today I'm just going to be sharing an update, a quick update on that, and just, you know, letting you know, am I going to medical school next year, am I not, is it looking quite positive? For those of you who follow my channel, you'll know that this is my second time applying actually. Last year I submitted an application, but my scores weren't all that good, so this is a new year. But anyway, we're going to get straight into it. Before we do that, I'm going to put my socials around there where you can follow if you want. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start from my first application cycle, which was last year. And last year I sat the GAMSAT and I sat the UCAT. I'd entered sort of this examination process with quite a lot of optimism, very positive. You know, I'd prepared as much as I thought I needed to. Unfortunately, the results weren't good enough to be competitive. That's what I thought going into the application cycle. And that's actually proved to be true at the end of the application cycle, because I didn't get any offers or any interview invitations at all. My UCAT was okay, but below the average. I'd done okay in some sections, but my verbal reasoning was terrible. My abstract reasoning was pretty bad. And my GAMSAT, although section 1 and 2 were pretty good, section 3 wasn't good enough. So anyway, I submitted an application and I was like, let me just see what happens. You never know. Obviously, nothing came out of that. But because I going into the application, I pretty much knew that was a possibility. I was still preparing throughout the, you know, from October up until March, where the new GAMSAT was going to be, I had to sit it for the 2021 entry. So I was preparing and then, you know, preparing for my exam to sit it in March. Now, for obviously, you know, the whole COVID situation happened. And so the exam actually got postponed until June. So the GAMSAT got postponed to June this year. And so for me, I was finding it a bit tough to sort of, you know, marry this exam with now also preparing for the UCAT. Because going in, my plan was prepare for the GAMSAT and sit it in March, and then you've got April, May, June, and even July to sit the UCAT. That was the plan. Obviously, that didn't happen. So basically, I found myself having to sit the UCAT and the GAMSAT quite close together, and the preparation was I found it quite tough actually because of my work and other commitments I had as well. It was quite tough for me to sort of find the time to dedicate to both. So I sat the GAMSAT in June. I improved actually for my section 3, but it still wasn't enough. So I knew I had to sit it again in September. But then I had to make a decision, and I had to decide whether or not I was going to sit the GAMSAT again in September, or if I was going to sit it at the same time as the UCAT, or if I had to pick one of the two. And so knowing myself and knowing my sort of capabilities and also knowing the exam, I decided the UCAT was the one to go for, and it was a good decision. So the reason why it was a good decision was because I sat it about 3 or 4 weeks ago and actually did pretty well. Obviously with the UCAT there's no I passed or I failed. You know, it's sort of basically is based on how well you do at a national average, how competitive are you, blah blah blah. So I did pretty well. I did quite well across the board. I got 2,600, and I'm pretty proud actually of the verbal reasoning section. I got 670, whereas last year I only managed to get 540. So it was quite a decent increase. There was a lot going on this year. I had to sit the UCAT twice actually, because I sat it first at home, but there were some internet issues and I had to sit it again pretty much. So then I went to the test centre. By the time I'd been given my new date, I'd stopped revising because I thought there was nothing else to do. That was it. But then thankfully I was able to, get another place, and then I had to scramble to get everything ready. To prepare. Basically, this was on a Wednesday, and then I had Wednesday, Thursday, because then on the Friday I was sitting the exam. So I was pretty nervous, went into the exam pretty nervous, taking the approach, well, there's nothing else that can really go wrong. I went into the exam sort of unrelieved from pressure. I wasn't feeling that pressured, and I'd sort of had come to terms with the fact that maybe I'd have to sit it again and wait for another year. Obviously I was hurt at that, sort of that realization, but I was still sort of happy with it. I was like, all right, let me just do the exam and see what happens. And to my surprise, it went really well, at least for myself. I know some people, get 3,000s, all of them numbers, yeah. Obviously for me, that's not what I got, but I'm very happy with what I got anyway. So the GAMSAT this year, it didn't go well. The UCAT went well. I managed to get my work experience in place. Obviously, the depth of my work experience was limited because I had planned for a lot of placements during this summer, but because of the whole COVID situation, it just stopped everything pretty much, and I had to basically I couldn't really do much more with the experience that I had booked. And so what I've done now is I've submitted my application. This video is titled, "Am I going to medical school?" And at this stage, I'd pretty much say that it's looking better than last year. Obviously, I can't say 100%, 50%, but I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty confident of the whole interview process. I've done interviews before on a professional level for my job, so I'm not worried too much about speaking to people, how to present myself professionally. Obviously, there's a new element this year because it's all going to be virtual, and so that comes with its own difficulties, its own benefits. So it's a case of just preparing beforehand. So this year, I'm not certain if I'm going to medical school, of course, but it's looking much more positive. And what I do want to say before I wrap up this video, because it's a short one, it's just an update. I've pretty much been running low on content because there wasn't anything for me to really say in these last few months, other than I was just preparing intensely to pass these exams and do as well as I could. But what I will say is that a lesson that I've taken from this year is to persevere. It's quite tough to persevere and not seeing any real progress, and perhaps having some setbacks on the way, but in the grand scheme of things, another year isn't really that much in the grand scheme of things. Now, what I'm trying to say with that is that obviously when we get the results and when we have these setbacks, this 1 year isn't a big thing, doesn't really come to our mind because obviously we feel hurt. So what I will say is, if that's you in this year and you're watching this video, lick your wounds. It's going to be quite tough, but after that, plan diligently, get on top of your work, and don't fall back, because you can do it. You really can do it. I'm not amazingly talented, I know that, but what I have developed over these last few years is resilience and a relentlessness of not stopping and carrying on. And that's what I'd recommend, We all have our different strengths. Some exams we're going to do better on, some sections we're going to do better on, but just plan diligently, work hard, and you're going to see the results. I'm sort of talking like if I've got the place. Obviously, I ain't got the place yet. But at least I managed to get past that whole admissions test barrier, which for me was, pretty tough. I didn't think I was able to do it. But what I will say is don't stop, carry on going forward, persevere, and you're going to see the fruits, If this is something that you want to do, then just carry on nurturing that desire, that dream, watch videos, read books. That's what I've been doing, looking at these YouTubers and sort of aspiring for that and saying this is something that I want, because that's something that I do want in the future. I want to, pursue this career. So that's what I will say. Take that as a lesson. That's something that I've learned. We're all very much capable of doing this. It can be tough, but you can do it. I've done it. And like I said, I'm not amazingly talented. Just to sort of highlight this, I failed my A-levels twice in a row. I got a 2-2 for my undergrad. I did well for my MSc. I'm not amazingly talented. I'm not this gifted person who, passes with flying colours. But I do persevere. And that's something that I want to say, persevere, and, you never know what happens. So that's all I've got to say for this video. I'm going to be putting out some more videos in the next coming weeks on my UCAT experience, some things that I've picked up. If you've got any video ideas that you maybe are, you want to recommend or you're interested in seeing, please leave them in the comment section below. My background is I'm a grad, so I'm applying as a grad to some undergrad courses and some grad courses this year. And I can speak of experience of going through the BSc, MSc, professional route. So if you've got any questions about that, let me know. Drop them in the comment section below. And yeah, you can follow me on my socials, which I'm going to put somewhere here. And that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Diego. and it's been great to have you here.